Hello everyone, Ace here, and today let's talk about how a recent report details how the Biden campaign colluded with government agencies to commit election fraud during the 2020 election. This latest report, released on October 30th of 2024 from the Committee on the Judiciary and the Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, is simply titled Election Interference: How the FBI Pre-Bunked a True Story About the Biden Family's Corruption in Advance of the 2020 Presidential Election. As you could probably guess, this report is specifically about both the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop story, as well as the false statements from government agencies claiming that it was just Russian misinformation. Both of these acts were of course done to help improve the chances of Biden winning the election, and therefore both constitute election fraud via misinformation. For the record, it is worth noting that this report, which is well over 600 pages in length, does document how even the social media platforms themselves were openly stating that yes, this was election interference that they openly supported. Or as one internal message from Facebook personnel stated, quote, "But when we get hauled up to the Hill to testify on why we influenced the 2020 elections, we can say we have been meeting for years with the US government to plan for it," unquote. So yes, even employees at social media platforms were openly admitting at the time that this was indeed a form of election interference. Though it is also worth noting that the government was still misleading those social media platforms, it turns out, specifically by lying to these social media platforms and priming them up to believe that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian misinformation, despite those exact same government agencies knowing for a fact that the Hunter Biden laptop was in fact very real, as was the very incriminating evidence on it regarding the corrupt business dealings of the Biden family. The fact that these government agencies primed social media platforms into falsely believing that the Hunter Biden laptop story was actually just Russian disinformation was of course first revealed via the Twitter files. However, this latest report does demonstrate a little bit more with regards to this whole situation, such as for example the fact that the FBI met with big tech over 30 different times to discuss a so-called hack and leak operation centered around, of course, the Hunter Biden laptop that, again, they claimed was just Russian disinformation, even though the FBI knew for a fact that it was very real since 2019, which really does show the scale at which the FBI was operating upon to try to push this election fraud, alongside other government agencies such as the CIA. But ultimately, the big takeaway here is that this report demonstrates that the Joe Biden campaign committed election fraud in 2020. This report completely confirms what most Trump supporters already knew, that yes, the election was determined under fraudulent conditions. This report on its own completely vindicates the Eastman memo, even if you take the most uncharitable and extreme interpretation possible of it, and makes anyone who has tried to defend the establishment Dems in this situation look like a complete fool. It turns out that Trump was actually right about the 2020 election being fraudulent. This is, again, admittedly something that we have already known since the Twitter files came out, but nevertheless, it is good to see this committee report show just how deep the rabbit hole goes. Now, for those curious, I will of course be providing a link in the description below to the report itself, so you can read it all in full for yourself if you should so desire. I will also endeavor to continue to keep my ear to the ground and keep you all informed should any more news come. But in any case, this has been Ace. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care. Ace out.